Okay. So I read chapter 28, Tiger Girls on the Soccer Field, and it was like kind of talking about how people kind of label girls that play sports as tomboys, or if they're like competitive, they kind of label them as tomboys and aggressive, like,
Yeah.
and they're kind of like, let's see. Yeah, they were talking about how girls that usually play sports are more likely to have higher income. They're going to get a job as an executive, like whereas someone that like does cheerleading or like something like
Yeah.
goalie and stuff, they won't be as competitive, or they probably won't get a like high income job. That's kind of what this chapter states, and it also talks about. Okay, so you probably like this because it's about soccer. So girls that play soccer, they're more aggressive and they're like call them bossy. And I'm like, they're not really
Oh,
bossy.
well, yeah, I mean, okay, I'll agree to that because, like, I mean, I don't think I'm like, I mean, I definitely know people who play soccer and who have those, like, traits.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, for me, I think, yeah, soccer, I mean, like, without soccer, I probably wouldn't be as, like, okay, if I, like, hear something that I, like, don't agree with, like, I'll just speak up, like, cause, like, you can, like, agree to disagree with somebody, but,
Yeah.
like, if I'm, like, if, like, somebody asks for my opinion, like, I feel like without soccer, like, I've been more, like, soccer has,
Oh, I think it. So I'm getting back on here. All right, you can go ahead.
oh, um, okay, well, I'll just go to what I read, I guess.
Okay.
So, chapter 7, it was over, like, um, the difference between like men and women and like men's masculinity and stuff. And um, I remember seeing this on the exam, and I'm pretty sure like I remember reading it somewhere, but I couldn't remember at the time. But um, it said that like televised, like the media ignores women's sports because they only get like 5% of
Yeah.
the time, and then like um, they like in the 2012 Olympics, they focused women athletes as being like family members and mothers, and then men were looked at like the natural athlete. And then they also said like what classifies like a man as being like a real man, like how
Yeah.
he be like strong, tough, aggressive, and like do whatever it takes to win. And this is interesting to me. I don't know why, but like I don't know. I wonder if like all guys like think like this, but it said like men are only as good as their last game or their last purchase, which I thought was kind of interesting because I was like, I didn't know like if that's how men actually view themselves. I guess that could be true. Like how men just like don't want to be soft, I guess.
Yeah, they don't. And also, like, for, like, female athletes, they kind of view them as, like, if they're competitive like a man, then they're like, oh, they're a tomboy, or
Yeah,
not girly. They're just, they're aggressive and they're
yeah,
bossy. So I guess I could see, like, that's a good quality in men, whereas in, like, female athletes, that's not as a good quality.
yeah, yeah. Which like I don't know. I know for me personally, like I feel like you're like this too. Like I feel like we both would be like pretty competitive, which I mean, I like though, like the competitiveness
Yes.
of things. I don't know. It makes me like want to work harder, but which has helped me in like school, I guess, in a way. I mean, like for some things, I'm like, okay, well, like for example, like for our team, we need to have like a certain GPA. So I guess in a way you could see that as like a competition, kind of like, oh, I need to make sure my GPA is pretty good so that like my coach doesn't think I'm like slacking off and stuff.
I think before I played sports, like in elementary, I was kind of like softer and like not like competitive at all. And
Yeah.
then when I started playing sports, it's like kind of changed like my whole personality. Now I'm like, I want to beat everyone like in school or like anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. And it's really bad.
Yeah. It's like, and it's weird because like how we were talking about it last time, how like we were like, oh, well, if you play sports, do you think you have an advantage? Like, I don't know, just like from like my friends, because like I'm mostly friends with athletes. I have like one friend that's not an athlete, and she just like it's just like we're very like different and
Yes.
like just like things, not even like sorry, I'm trying to word it like how we like and stuff we like to do, but also just our personalities are like so different.
See, I have like one friend that's not an athlete at all. I mean, she used to play sports like in middle school, she's kind of had
Yeah.
something. She's just, they kind of like, I'm not saying like all people that don't play sports, but they kind of panic over stuff. They don't know how to handle stress.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like that's not like everybody, but like I feel like they don't handle stress as like good,
Yeah. Cause
whereas we're like used to it.
yeah, cause in sports I feel like you face stress a lot with like I know I do, cause like we have a fitness test, so I stress out about that all the time. And then games are like how I perform on the field, and then I don't know. And also, I'm really like grateful it taught me time management because like especially now that we're done to online classes, like
Yes.
it's so easy to just procrastinate and just be like, oh well, I can do it tomorrow. But like
Yeah. I think because we have that fear that our coaches would
that's
come after
true.
us. That's what people that don't play sports, they don't have that fear, like, oh no, like,
Yeah,
don't get this grade, like, we're
yeah.
gonna,
I think it's definitely given me a thicker like skin too, because I
yeah.
don't really get like offended when people say stuff or like if they say something like I'm just like okay, because like
Mm,
on the field girls will say stuff to you all the time, and then if you've had like I used to have like a crazy coach. He used to like scream at us and stuff. Like
yeah.
he was like, crazy, and so like now I'm just like I feel like that's helped me have like a thick skin and be able to like not get butthurt over like little things. Where I feel like if I didn't before, oh my gosh, I would be so sensitive.
Like, my high school coach, like, my indoor high school volleyball coach, he'd scream at, like, me, like, all the time. It's just, like, so, like, even from a young age, I've been used to getting yelled at. So like
Yeah,
people do say something, I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like you're not as soft, but then like back in elementary school, I'd probably cry.
yeah. Same.
I would
Fun.
straight up cry. I'm like, oh.
Oh man. But
I
yeah,
think let's see, I like right here where it says nice girls competing. It says the importance of winning, the ability to bounce back from a loss to win in the future, to perform within time limits, to succeed in stressful situations, and to perform under the gaze of others is what I call competitive kid capital. So it kind of talks about like how girls like who play sports can bounce back from like like loss and like if they lose or
yeah, yeah,
so I don't know why some people are like, well, if a girl's competitive and plays sports, they're like tomboy. I'm like, I like girly stuff. You can
yeah,
be like, there's
yeah.
not.
I mean, like I do think some girls obviously give off that like
Vibe, yeah.
yeah, but for the most part, like I don't know, I'm not like super girly, but I know like there's girls that will just like dress up like all the time and stuff, and like you can
Yeah.
I think you can be both. Like I don't think all girls should be classified as like tomboys or being like not girly enough or whatever.
That's what like I've grown up with like two brothers, so that kind of like I don't know. I think it made me even more competitive.
Yeah, yeah, me too actually. But my brothers are like way older than me, but still. But yeah, I don't know. I just I don't know. I mean, I think like overall sports like shouldn't classify. girls as like being
Tomboy.
masculine. Yeah, like having like masculine qualities, I guess. Like I don't know. I feel like, but
Like sometimes it's not a bad thing for a girl to have more masculine. It just kind of makes them more like assertive,
yeah,
like tomboyish. I feel like people think like, oh, you play sports, you're a tomboy, and then they think you don't like any girly things. I'm like, that's not true
yeah, that's not true.
at all.
Um,
Let's see what else. I feel like I have more. Oh yeah, so they call people that do like girls that do dance as graceful girls, and they call the soccer girls aggressive girls.
oh, perfect.
Great, yeah. I'm definitely not graceful. I probably would play soccer over dancing because I can't dance.
Can't
So
dance either. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why I picked soccer, but I will like I'll agree that soccer is an aggressive sport. I mean, I think girls soccer is more aggressive in a way than like boys soccer is
I
because
agree with that.
girls like get emotional. Like and like in the game if you get mad and there's a girl that's I just feel like girls take things out more than men do. Like men just play. I don't know. That's just from
No,
my experience like on the field just if I had like $1 for every time a girl like even like myself I've done this just like gotten like really upset over something that's just like not that big of a deal. But yeah, I don't
I
know.
agree with that because like when I watch like women's basketball over men's college basketball, they're like a lot more aggressive. Like they'll scratch and like push
Really?
like girls basketball. Like I think it's more fun to watch than guys because they're like more aggressive.
Yeah.
You're just saying like girls are like, I'm gonna take you out like right now.
Yeah, honestly. Do you, this is, I don't know if this is related, but I mean, a lot of people, like, there's a lot of arguments I heard that, like, women's sports or men's sports are more entertaining to watch. Do you think, for the most part, men's sports are more entertaining to watch, or do you just think, like, women's?
I think certain sports like um I think women's basketball is probably more fun to watch, but I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a hard question. I think certain sports, like I feel like
Yeah,
women's volleyball is more fun to watch sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Cause, like, I know, like, I don't know, this is just a personal thing. Like, I like to watch men's soccer instead of women's just because it's faster and
Yeah.
it's just more like intense. But I like watching women's volleyball. That's like really interesting to me. So I don't know. I just was wondering because a lot of people that I've talked to have said they would rather watch men's sports over women's sports. And I was just asking because like in in one of my notes it says like the media treats women's sports as non-existent, and so I was just
You
wondering.
don't hear any like stories on like say if a women's basketball team like wins the championship, you don't hear about that as much if say like a guys college
Yeah,
and you're like mm.
yeah, that's true. I would agree with that. But
But I could see like you liking to watch like guys play soccer over girls because it's like your sport, so you're like, oh, this is more interesting because like
yeah, yeah.
whereas like I've played soccer like when I was like younger, but like that doesn't really count. But like so I guess I like watching girls soccer over guys because like
Yeah.
guys, I feel like guys soccer they're kind of like I think they're more emotional than girls. Like girls can
Dude,
like bleed.
they'll flop. Like men's soccer, they'll flop and like pretend like they're hurt. And women's soccer, they'll like actually get hurt, but they'll like try to walk it off.
Yeah, I think it's not like emotional. Girls are more emotional, and I think guys are more dramatic.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
So
Cause
I've watched a couple of like the soccer games, and like you'll watch the girls game, and then you watch the guys, and the guys are like literally falling and like flopping, and I'm like,
yeah,
how does it
I
work?
went to a couple of the men's games this year, and they just try to get the call. Like that's all it is. But I don't know. I definitely, yeah, I would agree with that. Men are definitely more dramatic.
That's definitely like this book is like saying like the stereotype that girls are tomboys and like emotional and they can't handle stuff. And then whereas like when we actually watch a sport, we're like, no,
Yeah.
guys, dramatic, definitely. But it was saying like I mentioned here, like soccer girls, they kind of it says like soccer, like people that play soccer, they're not as feminine. But I'm thinking that's not true because it says like they have to remove jewelry, pull their hair back.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't agree with that, but we do have to like we can't wear jewelry. But I feel like that's with every sport though, like that you
Yeah,
can't wear jewelry and that like you have to put your hair back. But no, I mean, I definitely think like different sports obviously like have different like soccer is like a high contact sport,
yes.
like so
Wear your hair down, like that's
yeah, and like
yeah,
and you're obviously like having to like like not push people, but like use your body,
like you know,
be in contact with others. So I mean, I feel like for soccer at least you have to be aggressive in that way
yeah,
and to like succeed on the field. And so like, but I don't know, it could be like different for volleyball because like I mean you can be aggressive in like how you like hit it, right? And like
yeah. Like you have to be
you know
aggressive.
what I mean?
Volleyball's an aggressive sport because you get to block people and then you get to hit it. Like when you spike, you get to hit it hard. But like it's not like I can see what you're saying. It's not a contact sport.
Yeah.
Like it's not really like this in beach, but like I feel like the indoor team they kind of get to be more girly. Does that make sense? Like they get to like bring their
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's whereas beach you're sweating to death and you get sand in your hair, so it's not as pretty. If that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. That makes sense.
Uh, I see what you're saying. Like I don't think it's like soccer girls are trying to make them less like girly. Like it's just
It's just how the sport is.
that you can't
Yeah.
Um, and it was talking about like girls that do dance. That's like they kind of focus more on their appearance and like
Oh
they put the full blown makeup,
yeah.
or like jewelry and stuff and their hair done, and they focus more on that. I definitely couldn't do dance.
I couldn't either, honestly. Or cheerleading. I don't think I could ever do cheerleading.
No, like I can just imagine me like screaming that. Like that's not. No one want to hear that at all. And oh, it also mentions that like girls that do dance, they tend to have a lower status than girls that do like moms. Like the mom will have a lower status like when they take her to
Oh.
dance, and whereas soccer moms have higher. Um, but I
Yeah.
think what they're trying to say is like that soccer mom maybe played soccer and she's always been competitive, so she got like a higher income job.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
That's what.
I feel like all of this ties in to like each chapter because it's just so weird because like last time we were talking about if like you play sports, you're like more likely to get like a better
Yeah.
job. And like I feel like for me being an athlete, I feel like that's true. But I mean, I know there are like non-athletes who obviously like excel and do good things and get good jobs.
Yes.
But just for me, like I feel like if I was an athlete, like I wouldn't have that. Like I just like soccer gives me like the structure that I need to like.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Because
But
it'd be hard for me to imagine like not playing any sport at all and then just going to school and then that's it. And then
yeah,
I feel like I'd be lazy. Like I feel like
yeah. I no from these online classes I've learned I need like structure in my life just because like it's because if I just went to school like soccer I'm not gonna say like gives me a reason to like keep my grades up, but it's one of the reasons why like I need to like be on top of everything. So
yes.
I don't know, but yeah,
Like I noticed like with this quarantine stuff, like I have to go outside or I'll go crazy.
yeah,
I have to
yeah,
do some physical activity because like I'll go outside and pass
yeah,
volleyball with my brother or something because I'll go insane. Like I have to
yeah,
do something.
yeah. No, I'm the same way. It's been tough, but I don't know. I don't really have any other notes.
I think that's all I've seen. Oh, here's like one more thing. It says girls that play sports are more likely, well, they'll be more like fit to like get jobs that are like, like male dominated jobs, like being a doctor. Like they're more likely to do better in those kind of jobs.
Oh yeah, because they're already like, yeah, I could see that. I don't know if like reffing is a male dominated job,
I think
but
it is.
I'm in a officiating class with Dr. Bird, and I was just thinking, cause like they always talk about like having to like if you want to be a ref and like move up to higher statuses, like you have to be physically fit, and like I don't know if that's a male dominated job, like women could definitely do it if they play sports, and especially if you know like if I were to ref soccer, like I'd know the rules and like
Yeah.
so
I think it depends on the sport because if you watch volleyball, even for the men's volleyball, there's like always a female ref. So I think it just like depends on what sport.
yeah,
Because like volleyball is seen as more like a girly sport, I guess. Like
yeah.
girls. Um, I think. What about soccer? Do you see a lot of female?
Um, for the most part, like I've always had, like for the most part, I feel like there's male refs, but like we've had women refs before. It's just like mostly like it's usually men. Like I'm trying to remember for like all of our games this year, I think we had mostly men refs, which is like fine, but I don't know. I feel like you're right for like certain sports because for soccer, I feel like men are more
Yeah, and
the
probably
dominated.
basketball. Because you never see you don't see a lot of female refs like refing basketball games. Like
Yeah,
you don't see
yeah,
that. I don't know. Just depends on the sport. But, yeah, I do feel like all these chapters kind of tie in
yeah,
because we tend to talk almost the same thing, but not quite. So it's like every chapter kind of builds on like what it's like already talked about.
yeah, yeah,
But I think that's all I have for that chapter.
yeah. That's all I had for this one. There wasn't much, just because I feel like we talked about it mostly. Just like the main like points of the chapter were just masculinity in men and like how like underrepresented I guess women's sports are within the media.
Yeah.
So
So I tend to pick those chapters because I think that's like very interesting to kind of see like what other
yeah,
people think of athletes. If that
yeah,
makes, that's like usually why I go with those.
yeah. It's easy to read too because it's just I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording. Let's see.